We all know that Madden's franchise mode has not met our expectations and hopes for years. To create depth and enjoyment in our beloved mode, we have devised a series of challenges with corresponding rules and suitable teams. Let's start with the No First Round Glitz Challenge. In the No First Round Glitz Challenge, we avoid all first-round draft players to add an extra layer of difficulty to franchise mode. This means that each year, you trade your first-round draft pick for players or draft picks from other rounds. Additionally, you actively avoid having former first-rounders on your team by not offering them new contracts or adding them to your roster. To achieve this, we have a set of rules that define the No First Round Glitz. First, as mentioned, ensure you have no first-round pick each year by trading it away for multiple later-round picks or a player. Second, when acquiring new players, only add those who were not selected in the first round of the draft. Lastly, the team you start with will naturally have former first-rounders on the roster. Let them fulfill their contracts, but do not offer them new ones. A bonus rule is to make a blockbuster trade each year with your upcoming first-round pick. Now let's look at the teams that historically fit well with this challenge. First up, the LA Rams. The Rams are known for trading multiple first-round picks for a new star player. While they don't consider whether the new player was a former first-round pick, we do this purely for the added challenge and immersion in the game. Next, we have the Seattle Seahawks. Although they made first-round picks in 2023 and 2024, they were known for selecting players in later rounds during their better years. Additionally, successful teams that often select late in the draft tend to trade out of the first round for more picks in later rounds. Think of the current Chiefs with all their success, the 49ers with their great roster, or the Patriots in the past. Overall, this challenge is especially fun if you're looking for that extra challenge to win Super Bowls with your favorite team. Our next challenge is for those who love rebuilding a franchise, the Franchise Savior. The idea here is to choose a team that finished at the bottom of their division in the previous season and rebuild them with the goal of achieving a winning record in your first year and reaching the Super Bowl within 5 years. While this might seem unrealistic in real life, all it takes is one good draft to completely turn an organization around. Just look at the Houston Texans, who turned their franchise upside down with their 2023 draft, going from nothing to a bright future ahead. The main rule here concerns the choice of your team. Whether you're playing Madden 25, 24, or 20, select a team that finished last in their division the previous year. Our second rule is that you must play every game yourself in the first season and not simulate any matches. It's important to discover what kind of players you have and which ones you want to build with and which ones you don't. As a third, optional rule, it can be more fun and challenging to choose a team that hasn't yet found their franchise quarterback or whose quarterback is still unproven. There's no position more important than the quarterback, so if you choose the LA Chargers, who finished last in their division in 2023 but have Justin Herbert as their quarterback, the challenge is naturally less because he can potentially elevate the team on his own. The same goes for the 2023 Bengals and Cardinals, who underperformed due to injuries to their franchise quarterbacks. For Madden 25, there are several suitable teams, some of which hope they have selected their franchise quarterback in the 2024 NFL Draft. First, we have the Tennessee Titans with their second-year quarterback, Will Levis. Can the 2023 second-round pick earn your trust? Or will you decide to go in a different direction after a year? The same applies to the Carolina Panthers, who are entering their second year with their first overall pick, Bryce Young. Young had a tough rookie campaign, and there are still many question marks about the young player in his second season. Finally, we have the three teams that selected new quarterbacks with the first 3 picks in this season's NFL Draft: the Bears, Commanders, and Patriots. All these teams are at the beginning of their rebuild with their new leader carrying the hopes of the fans on his shoulders. Here, you have less freedom to make your own choice for the future, but the story is ready to be written. Now for a smaller and simpler challenge that is mainly gameplay focused, the No Kicking Challenge. For many of us, the game is still too easy even on all Madden difficulty, because you might be good at reading the game or exploiting the AI in Madden. The No Kicking Challenge adds an extra layer of difficulty to the gameplay. The rules for this challenge are quite predictable based on the name. The first rule is that after every touchdown, you don't go for an extra point but always go for the 2-point conversion. The second rule is that on 4th down, you never go for a field goal or punt, but always go for a fresh set of downs, or better, of course. The challenge this brings is self-explanatory and will put you in tough situations, but it adds that extra difficulty to the gameplay itself. The next challenge is again related to roster building. namely the One Contract Challenge. In this challenge, you never offer your current players an extension or a new contract. This ensures that you always play with a roster that changes and rotates, and in some cases, you can't rely on the same players. This forces you to be creative with attracting players and the contracts you give them. Now, in the NFL, it is very common for players to see out their contracts and regularly switch teams. But the added difficulty of applying this to all your players creates a unique challenge where you are constantly looking for new talents. The rules are simple. First, players you drafted yourself do not get a second contract after they have completed their rookie contract. They also do not get an extension or new contract during their rookie contract. You may accept the fifth-year option for first-rounders. However, they play for you for 4 or a maximum of 5 years and then leave, unless you cut or trade them to another team earlier. The second rule is that you reject all players who are ready to negotiate their contracts each year and do not offer them a new contract. If you decide to trade one of the players and get another player in return, you must also see out the current contract for that player. As I said, it is very common in the NFL for players to see out their contracts and then move to another team. However, the 3 teams we find very suitable for this are especially known for not offering new contracts to their first-round draft picks. Let's start with the first, the Cleveland Browns. The Browns have recently not been known for having good and smart contracts. With the contract they offered Deshaun Watson, despite the huge question marks surrounding him both on and off the field. Additionally, they have already parted ways with their first-round picks during or after their rookie contracts, such as most recently Baker Mayfield, who now seems to be perfectly at home in Tampa Bay. The next team is another with a bruised and hardened fan base, namely the New York Jets. In the last 6 years, the Jets have selected a quarterback in the top 3 of an NFL draft twice, with Sam Darnold and Zach Wilson. Both quarterbacks no longer play for the Jets and had to find another team before the end of their rookie contracts. And finally, we have a team that not only has problems with quarterbacks in the first round of the draft, but just has problems finding the right players in the first round of the draft in general, the Las Vegas Raiders. Here too, we often see players not getting a new contract after their rookie deal, except for the great Max Crosby, of course. This makes the Raiders also very suitable for this challenge, and definitely a fun challenge for franchise mode. And last but not least, we have the Draft Day Deal Challenge. This challenge is inspired by the movie Draft Day. Opinions on the film are quite divided, but I enjoy watching it every time. In this challenge, you put your best trading foot forward and ensure that you have at least a top 10 pick in the draft every year. Whether you trade your best veteran for a first-round pick or have a bad season that lands you in the top 10, you do your best every year to get the chance to draft one of the top 10 college talents of the year. The rules here are once again simple but essential. The first rule is that if, through your performance or previous trades, you do not have a top 10 draft pick, you do everything you can to obtain one. You trade your current first-round pick plus more picks to move up in the draft, or you trade a valued player for a top 10 pick. It doesn't matter how you do it, as long as you do it. The second rule is that if you already have a top 10 pick due to a poor season, you do your best to get a second first-round pick. Again, you go all in to secure that second first-round pick. Think of this challenge like the Carolina Panthers, who went all out for Bryce Young, giving up key players like DJ Moore and a bunch of draft picks. Or the Rams, who went all in on Jared Goff and sent a whole load of draft picks to the Tennessee Titans. Teams that have everything in order and have been among the best for years are not the ones making these kinds of trades. For this challenge, we are looking for teams that are on the brink of panic. Unfortunately for the Panthers, they might be at the top of this list again. If Bryce Young doesn't turn out to be the man, they'll have to look for their new franchise quarterback once more. The next team might come as a surprise, namely the Dolphins. We saw Tua Tagovailoa leave the field with a concussion again this week, raising questions about how long he will continue to play. The Dolphins might have to look for a top 5 draft pick for a franchise quarterback sooner than expected. And finally, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Over the last 5 drafts, the Jags have selected a player in the first round 8 times, including franchise quarterback Trevor Lawrence. And with that, we've come to the end of this video. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video. Goodbye from me.